Okay, let me see. In the chat, Linda, would I consider videotaping lessons for the butterfly quilts? I bought both designs, but I'm intimidated by the instructions and I only have enough material to complete the design and no room for mistakes.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello, how are you? Let me just get you added to the spotlight here. Why can I not? Oh, you are not. Are you able to turn your video on?
I don't know how to do that.
Um, are you on your computer?
Yes.
Okay, so down at the bottom of the Zoom screen, you should have the bottom left button says audio, and the next button along probably says start video.
Yes.
So
Click
just
that.
click on that button.
Okay.
There you go. And now, did it add you? It did add you to the spotlight. I think you have your video camera covered up.
Okay. Let me try that. Okay. Oh, that's
There you
scary.
are. Hi there.
Hi.
Okay, so the butterfly quilts. It's not on my agenda anytime soon to do any videos, but we've actually had lots of requests for videos. So maybe one of these days, it's a possibility, but I want to get you started
Okay.
and also let you know that there are lots of people who have made the butterfly quilts. And if you were to pop into the Facebook group and say, help, I'm working on the butterfly quilt, you'd have lots of people jumping in and giving you some good how-to advice. So what are you specifically wanting to make the big butterfly quilt?
I wanted to do the wall hanging, but I
Okay,
wanted
with
to do
the big
the
butterfly, the butterfly 100.
yes, yes.
Okay, literally take it, just read the instructions one step at a time. And I'm going to give you a link to a video which will show you how to do the applique. So as long as you've got the instructions in front of you that says stitch this design here, then the video that I'm going to show you, it's not the butterfly quilt, but the technique is exactly the same, regardless of which applique project you're working on, okay?
Okay.
So let me just, I got to get this. We've got so many videos in here now. I really think I need to put this one video in a playlist by itself or something, because it would make it a lot easier to find. Okay, hold on. Here. Okay, so in the chat, there is a link to a video which is called How to Position a Machine Embroidery Design Exactly Where You Want It. It's actually showing you using the Sunshine Cove designs, but it works for the butterfly, or it works for everything. It works for any design. So the butterfly specifically, you're going to start out by piecing the borders, right?
Okay.
And then based on the exact size of the borders, you'll cut your center. You'll add the borders to it. You'll mark up the stabilizer. And then you get to choose, do you want to do the quilting first and then the applique, or do you want to do the applique first and then the quilting?
I thought it might
So,
be easier to do the quilting first and then put the applique in it.
okay. So you've made that decision. So you're going to make the borders first, cut them to size, add them to the center, then follow the instructions for how to do the quilting first, and then follow the instructions for how to do the applique. Now, what has come to light over the last couple of months, because we've had quite a few people working on the butterfly. When you are piecing the borders, you want to make sure that you've got your 1/4 inch seam spot on.
Okay.
So we've had a couple of people who have been wondering why their quilt wasn't the right size, and it's because their seam allowance went haywire when piecing the borders. Okay, so
Okay.
I highly recommend that you actually with some scraps of the same fabric, do a test on your 1/4 inch seam. So if you take 2 pieces that are, let's say, 3 inches tall and 1.5 inches wide, if you sew them together with a 1/4 inch seam and then press the seam to one side, then you should end up, let's see, what did I say? You've got 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, 3 inches tall. So by the time you've taken off a 1/4 inch seam on both of them, you've got 1 1/4 times 2, so 2.5, right?
Right.
So with your 2 pieces, 1.5 inches wide, 3.5 inches tall, stitch them together with a 1/4 inch seam, press them open, and you should end up with something that's 2.5 inches wide and 3 inches tall.
Okay.
And you want to adjust your pressing and your seam allowance until you get those measurements, right? And then you should be able to confidently stitch the borders together and know that everything will come out the right size at the end.
Okay.
Okay. It seems to be the borders have been the biggest challenge. Interestingly enough, once people get to the quilting and the applique, it goes fairly well. So make sure that you've got a good 1/4 inch seam. Pressing can have an influence on how your seam goes, and obviously the actual stitching of it as well will make a difference. So if you're finding that you're short of the 2.5 inches, you might want to be a bit more aggressive in your pressing.
Okay.
And then adjust the seam allowance. Okay.
Mhm.
So basically just do one thing at a time.
Okay.
Is the best. So the next thing, or the first thing for you to do, is test your 1/4 inch seam until you're sure that that's accurate. Then work on the borders.
Okay.
Then refer to the instructions, make sure that you've got everything, a piece of stabilizer marked up properly, and work on the quilting. So depending on how fast you go, we'll be back here in 2 weeks. So I don't know if in 2 weeks you'll be able to get the piecing done and
Okay.
maybe be ready to do the quilting,
That'll
or
give
if
me
you want
something
to
to
go a bit
try.
faster than that. But
Okay, I'll
if
give
you
it a
would
try.
like, if you would like a challenge, I'm going to say come back in 2 weeks with the background and the borders all put together, and we can have a talk about how to do the quilting. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Okay.
Okay. You got a date then for
Thank
2
you.
weeks from today, which is August 1st.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome.